Mit Crimson Heist startet Rainbow Six Siege in sein 6. Jahr und Rainbow Six, Year 6, das passt doch zusammen. Und für das Jubiläum sozusagen haben sich die Entwickler doch schon ein paar Änderungen und ein paar coole Features ausgedacht, wo wir das Jahr werden sehen. Auf was man sich da so freuen kann, was wir schon in der ersten Season werden sehen und was sich die Entwickler dabei überlegt haben, das haben wir natürlich herausfinden und können mit dem Emilien Lomet reden, einem der Gamedesigner bei Rainbow Six Siege. Ist schon recht lang dabei und hat uns auch ein paar coole Antworten gegeben. Viel Spaß!
Thank you for taking your time for answering my questions today. I'm really looking forward to the new season, Year 6. There's a lot of changes, a lot of big changes coming this year. Yeah. Some of them already with this season. Are you personally excited or nervous for the new season?
I'm very excited for both the new season and the content of Year 6. This is a year where we can finally introduce some of the larger changes and improvement we wanted to make for the game for a long time. So this is very exciting for me. Not anxious. I feel like we've been doing this for long enough so that now our process and the way we do things is reliable enough so that we're confident in what we're providing. So no real anxiety, more excitement right now.
Perfect. With the new season, we also get a new operator, Flores. He seems to be, let's say, easier to grasp, especially with his gadget. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a drone, you make it go boom. Perfect for, starter players. We had some more complex operators in the past. Is that something you want to do more in the future, like easy to learn, hard to master operators?
So I think right now what we want is to have a spectrum of operator. We're okay to have operators that are complex and not for newcomer and are going to shine at a high level of play in Pro League and in those kind of areas. We're also okay to provide operators that are simple to play, easy to learn, and that might not necessarily shine in Pro League as well. We're fine with that. And we're also very much okay when we get something like Flores, where we get to have something, like you said, easy to learn, hard to master, where I give you the operator, you don't even have to have enemies. You can be in a custom game on your own and you can have fun with him and it's going to be nice. But at the same time, if you want to make the most out of it, you need to have map knowledge, you need to have coordination with your teammate to, if you displace a defender, have someone get the elimination for you. So Flores fits in the sweet category where I feel that a newcomer can have a lot of fun with him, but I feel that experienced player will get the most out of it.
So this is you almost got into the second question I had for this. So you already think of the current meta when designing a new character, definitely.
Yes. Usually when we design a new character, we look at the current meta, we look at what we expect the meta to be in the future. So for example, when we were designing Flores, we already had in mind the changes we made to the 22nd meta last season, the one that I introduced this season with the Gone 6, the one that are coming next with Goyo and Melusi, for example. So we already had all of those elements in mind, and we felt that Flores would complement our big batch of changes to address the 22nd meta fairly well. We also knew that an operator alone cannot change the meta, or should not at least change the meta on his own. So that's why there is this dual focus on the operator itself that brings a lot of assets for the attacking team to deal with bulletproof utilities, but also other changes that change the meta on a more deeper level, right? So this is both of those things that goes together. So meta at the present when we start designing, and then our projection of what we think the meta is going to be 9 months from now, which is a tricky exercise to do. And finding 9 months the meta in advance is not super easy. Fortunately for us, we can tweak the operator during development to adapt to whatever changes. We have a lot of time spent with the professional players also to get a better grasp on their meta specifically, so that we can make sure that what we release is compliant to what they need and what they want. So usually the meta is a big consideration for us. But oftentimes we also have operators, like I would say, for example, Oryx. They're not designed to address a meta issue. They're designed to bring a new gameplay, something new to the game, right? So we're also okay to not disregard the meta, but make operators that don't necessarily address a problem or address the meta or try to iterate on already existing stuff like Wamai, for example, but are on a completely new aspect of the game. I feel Flores hits both milestone, as in we have this completely new device, completely new way to drive it, pilot it, and do stuff with it, but also a very meta-centric operator.
Definitely. And I feel like you don't shy away of giving yourself some more challenges. We see that with the Gun 6. I mean, this brings a whole lot of new balancing into the game now with the Gun 6.
Definitely. We made the decision earlier last year to go for it. We've seen among the community and among ourselves debate around such an idea of introducing a secondary weapon that would address gadget questions and not just kill people and eliminate their opponents. So, but we felt that at the same time, even though it brought new challenges for balancing, and even though it is going to be an iterative process, who gets the Gun 6, how many operator in attack can have it, those questions, it's also a new tool for us to tweak and fine-tune things. And the more tool we have, the easier it's going to be in the future to adapt to difficult situation when it comes to the meta, right? For now, we had main operator gadget, secondary gadget, essentially, and then weapons. And now on top of that, we have this new weapon that is a bit between both. Like it's a weapon, but it also addresses the gadget situation, which allows us to have this extra lever to tweak things and maybe move it around on such operator or such operator.
Perfect. We heard in the press briefing in a short video that you're gonna favor the attack side a bit more in this year, just to bring back the balance into the game. Can you already say something how we're gonna try to do that? We see it with the Gun 6 now a bit, but are there any other plans you have already?
Absolutely. There is, like, the two main plans we can discuss right now are the Gun 6, obviously, as you mentioned. Second element we want to introduce is this repeat attacker. That is a cornerstone of what we want to add in the game. It's been an idea we've had for so long, almost since the inception of the game, where the fantasy we have is this attacking team outside of the map, collecting information and adapting their plan. And right now in Siege, that's what we have as a preparation phase. And that's a very big, important aspect of Siege that makes it unique. But we want to make that phase more relevant for the attacking team and not just collecting where's the bomb site. Okay, I keep my drone outside and I wait there. No, we want this information you collect to matter. And Replica Attacker is definitely in line with that. At the same time, since the attacking team is a bit weaker than the defending team right now, we have an opportunity to do that without shifting the meta completely the other way around and just bringing it back in the middle, hopefully. Obviously, there will be fine-tuning alongside like the gun sinks and all of these elements to make sure that attackers don't become too strong. I don't believe that's going to be the case. However, this unbalanced attack defense is for us an opportunity to introduce such a good feature. A repeat attacker feel so natural, it makes so much sense in this game, and we are finally able to deliver it, and we're very happy about that.
Definitely, it looks so cool. And what I ask myself is if there's maybe a point where you try to balance the attacker side and defense side, that you already shoot over your target and maybe have to take some things away in the future. Are you aware of that? Or
yeah, definitely, we are prepared to, like, we know it's okay to aim slightly above the target and then have to readjust. It's also okay to undershoot and then slowly move towards it. We're fine with that. As long as the shift don't become too drastic, we know that we're always going to be hovering around the middle point, right? And it's fine. We're completely okay with that part. It's just, even if we were to do nothing, just the player playing the game, learning the game, evolving the strategy would shift that middle point anyway. So we have to always be agile when it comes to this balancing between attack and defense. We just have to be ready to react to those things. Sometimes it's going to be a couple of orders that are going to be specifically problematic. Oftentimes it's going to be a bigger package, like when we had the 20-second meta, it's more than just an operator. It's a general mindset of how defense plays, and we have to adapt to that. Hence the gun sinks, hence Flores, hence all those elements. But from there, we are completely willing to, maybe if some operator benefit too much for this replica attacker, we can shift them a bit and tweak them. But at the same time, we also feel that without replica attacker right now, you have an idea of what you're going to face, but not very accurately. So as an attacker, usually you select a roster of operator that is very average, that can do pretty much everything. jack of all trade. Like you have a breacher, you have a Thatcher, you have an Ashe and Zofia, and you go with that, and you don't really expand your choices more than that. Whereas with a Rupic attacker, you have enough information that you can choose specific operators that you might not play before, because yeah, they would work if if this one thing you have in mind happens. But now you know that thing happens because you've been able to draw it. So you can select this very specific operator for this very specific task. So Rupic attacker, on top of bringing a better fantasy to the preparation phase, on top of balancing attack and defense, is also intended to diversify the attacking roster.
This will definitely bring some new aspects to 6 Siege that we haven't seen before, and we're looking forward how this will shape the whole gameplay, and not even on the esports level or pro level, but especially if you're just in scrims. I mean, everything has an impact there as well. What we won't see this year or this season at all are any new maps. We have the map pool we know right now, we know and love, some we hate, but you won't change that. What led to this decision?
So it's a difficult decision to make. I don't know what the future will have when it comes to new maps. It's something I can't really answer right now because we don't really have the answer. But for now, we feel that we've provided a lot of really good rework, but we're not yet there yet. We need to first have a really solid map pool. And when I meant solid map pool, I'm not just talking about the 7 maps that are in Pro League. I'm also talking about the map you have in rank, the map you have even in casual, and we feel that we've learned enough over the year now that our level designer can go back to those maps and make them better with this learning, with this. And it's both the learning and the new operators and the meta and everything changed, right? So I think we still have some work to do. And this year is about that, to improve the lineup of maps we already have before going to new ones. And that's mostly the main drive behind this decision, is to use our collective efforts towards bettering what we already have. And this year, it's just about that. I'm not saying that in the future it won't change. We're probably eventually going to go back to make new map, or I don't know. I don't have that answer for you right now. But right now, year 6 is about improving a lot of it. Like, have you noticed, like, there is a huge spectrum of features that are more about improving the game than adding new things to the game. And like Rupic attacker is improving the preparation phase. We also have a lot of things for once your operator has been eliminated, what you can do during that moment. Those subjects are going to come and be very important for us. So yeah, year 6 is a turning point for Siege, very much so. And I think the rework map belonged in the same logic, going to the next level.
Well, we didn't talk about yet, but maybe, I don't know if you can answer this, but the arcade modes, there are some planned for the new year. We heard about that for all these events. Are there any, can you tell us something about the approach, how you go about to find a new maybe arcade mode we haven't seen before, or something you think would fit the Rainbow universe, or are you free to do whatever you want, so to speak?
Kind of. We don't have like, that's the good thing with arcade mode, is when we work on the core game of Siege, we are in a very constrained environment where we have to both respect what Siege is and what we want for Siege and how Siege is played out every level of play, and those constraints bring creativity. They're nice, but at the same time, having the arcade playlist is awesome because we can go nuts and do things that makes no sense in the fantasy, or gameplay wise that are a bit weird, or even stuff like the whole destruction game mode we have this year, where that would never make it to the main game because it would break everything. But it's an arcade mode, so we don't care if it breaks everything. It's okay, we can go with it. And so that's the cool thing with arcade game mode. We want to do more of it. We want to go crazy with it. We want to expand there. We want also to use it to try new stuff that are interesting. Like when we went for a team deathmatch, for example, this year. That was a great way to experiment with it and see how it would behave in the context of Siege. And the arcade playlist is this weird, bizarre laboratory of experimentation, and it's an awesome thing to have for us.
Perfect. So Rainbow Six Battle Royale in the future, still an option?
No plan for it. It's just so far away from what the game is that there's no plan for that.
Well, then that calms me down a bit. So last question I just wanted to ask. Rainbow Six is now 6 years old. Wonderful age for the game title. do you see like a ceiling or a stop for the creativity or what you can do with the game in the near future or in the middle future where we're at right now?
Well, near future, I have no fear. Like, we have so many ideas that we want to put in the game. Like I said, like this replica dagger is not something that just popped this year. It was something that we had in mind for such a long time, and now we get around doing it. We have a lot more of those there that we want to be able to do, and so it's such an iterative process that ideas come faster than actual implementation. Like, having ideas is easy. Everyone does. You have some, I have some. You have good ideas, I have good ideas. Everyone does. I go on Reddit, I find 100 of them. Ideas is not the problem. But actually designing them, making them, testing them, trying them, and making something that is Siege, that's what takes the longest time. So creativity and ideas, I don't think is going to ever be a problem. At least not in the near future for sure. We already have a huge backlog of things we want to do, and we have a lot of good projects for Siege. And I think it's always going to be that. So maybe 20 years from now, I seriously don't know. Maybe eventually maybe one day I'll be able to sit there and be like, all right, the game is perfect now. But we're not there yet.